All right, what's up, my people? Mi gente. Welcome to another episode, actually episode number 7 of What's Next podcast. Let me tell you something, man. I am so excited today because I have my cousin in the house, way up from Jacksonville, Florida, hailing out of Brooklyn, New York. But before I do the intros with him, again, my name is Lou Maroto. I'm the host of What's Next podcast, a platform where you, as a guest, can tell your story as to different trials and tribulations that you, your family, your friends have experienced in life, and let our viewers, our guests, listen to those stories, and hopefully maybe it can make an impact or a change in someone else's life. So that is the purpose of this podcast. It's not to obtain any kind of glamour or notoriety or anything like that. It's more to try to help people that may need some help. I know I was there at one point when and we were just talking about it when my parents passed away way back then. But this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that have impactful stories to tell, that want to say something about themselves, how they dealt with it, and what kind of recommendations or advice they would want to give a younger person that may be in the same situation, right? Prevent them from taking the same actions that we might have taken back then.
Sure.
So before I start, I want to say thank you to, again, my sponsors, Simpatico Real Estate, my man Tommy Morrison. Thank you for the equipment that I have. My friends from the Bushel Stop, the landscaping company that has all your landscaping needs for residential and commercial needs. The Bushel Stops. Then my other friends from local agencies here in West and Palm Beach County, Will and Clint from Tacti Polo, Jeremy from CWS Holsters. So give those guys a call if you're looking for holsters, if you're looking for any type of polo shirts, trucker hats, and stuff like that. TactiPolo.com and CWS Holster Solutions. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna kick this off. My man Ace.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Yo, it is
a pleasure. Fam.
I know you just came from seeing your son, so
yeah.
I know you've been on the road for what, an hour and a half and change?
About an hour and a half, yeah. Coming from Okeechobee County.
So yeah, coming from Okeechobee, so I'm glad you guys.
A little depressing, but I'm here. I'm glad that I'm here, and I also want to say thank you to all Lou's sponsors, man, for making this happen for my cousin, and I wish you all a lot of luck. And if you need a handyman, I'm here.
Yeah, that's right, man. Now that you're talking about that, do you have a name to your company?
Ace Handyman Services.
Ace Handyman Services. Now, somebody that's listening, that's in you'll go from Jacksonville to wherever, right?
All Northeast.
So how would
from
somebody?
Jacksonville, all you have to do is you can either email me at Mr. Ace 2426 at gmail.com, or you can always call me at area code 904-226-0883, and you speak directly to Ace.
That's what's up.
I'm here, I'm reasonable. I'm getting older, so I'm reasonable. If you need me, call me. As long as you owe me, I'm never broke. That's all I gotta say. Well, you work with me and I'll work with you. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I swear to the man upstairs that I was thinking about you because the wife and I are in the middle. We're trying to find kind of like our retirement pad, you know what I'm saying? And my dream has always been to find a little condo on the water where one day I could have a little boat. So we find this location, and it definitely needed some TLC. And I was like, babe, we're going to call Ace. And Ace is going to come down here, and he's going to spend a week or whatever to try to take care of the essentials to get the place running.
Get you started.
And, unfortunately, the deal fell through because the dude wanted to rent and not sell it at the last minute. But I think it was a blessing in disguise because there were some issues with the deed to the actual slip, that I would have had to deal with later on in life. So it is what it is.
It's got to be a clean one. You got to come clean and come to Lou. You got to come clean and come out off.
God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, hey, so let's talk about you, man, because that is about you because you really have some banging stories, and there's no fluff.
Ain't no fluff.
This is hailing out of Brooklyn, right?
Straight out of Eastern New York, Brooklyn. Gunsmoke, Brooklyn, baby. That's where it's at.
So, the stories that Ace is going to talk about, are stuff that he's lived, that his family has lived through, and that his family is presently dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So let's start with where you just came from.
Let's start where I just came from now.
Yeah, let's talk about your son.
Let's talk about my son. Well, today we had a great visit. Me and my wife, my daughter, and my son-in-law. Finally, we made it today. And actually, because of COVID, everything's been closed. You know, it's been real tight there. You got to wear a mask all the time and everything. And today, finally, we were able to not wear a mask. Of course, me and my wife, we got our shots. You know, we
you got this is the first one?
I got both of them.
Oh, so you're good now. Yeah. I'm waiting on the second one.
I hope I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I'm praying. But anyway, you know, yeah, we went to go visit my son today. You know, it was a great visit. It's always sad, you know, when you gotta say goodbye. You know, it's like every time I go there, I'm happy. I'm going there. I'm gonna see my son. I interact with my son, and you know, we chop it up. We talk about things that are going on, and you know, what can we do better and stuff like that. You know, like. And today we had a good visit, and it's just so hard for me
as a dad, and a mom,
and of course I'm a prison dad, and my wife is a prison mom. You know, we have a son in prison for a terrible mistake he made, but you know, you got to pay your dues. You know, things happen for a reason.
Right.
I believe that everything that happens in this world happens to a person for a reason. Who knows? You know, my son wasn't doing things the right way. You know, he was gangbanging in Orlando and stuff. And then when I found out, you know, it was weird the way I found out, because he came to visit me, and we used to share. Me and my wife went together. We would share. One summer he would go with me. One summer, whenever he wanted to come with me, I was like, come on, you know, because he was a workaholic. AJ's a workaholic, and my son is something else. And then to actually see where we at today, it's like a blessing, but it's not a blessing. You know, at least my son is alive.
Yeah.
Because the road that he was on
at least.
Yeah, he was. Right? Somebody was about to take him out. You know, because they feared him. You know what I'm saying? At a young age, it's like, wow, are you kidding me? Are you kid?
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it is these days. You got to be more careful with a kid than you do an adult. These kids ain't thinking these days. These kids, you turn around. I remember when I was a kid, you know, you go, but you smack a little kid, and go get your father.
Yep. You
know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go get my dad. Dad come back, you know, you and your dad, you were talking about whatever. But now, that same little kid that you brought, he'll come back, and it's different. This world is different.
The world has changed tremendously.
The world has changed tremendously. These kids these days, man, it's unbelievable the things that they do, you know. It's not the things that they do, the choices they make.
Yeah.
You know, they rather, instead of running to dad, they'll run to a gun.
Absolutely.
And that's bad. You know, and they'll come back and just light you up, and you're like, where'd this come from? You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree, because I see it on the law enforcement side, where we see, you know, all these young kids really that are picking up guns.
Yeah.
And
it's scary.
A lot of the fights, a lot of the shootings that are created, you know, is because it's like stupid things. Social media, arguments on social media, could be over a girl, you know. I don't really think it's so much over like territory, you know.
It's not a territory thing. No
you know what I mean? It's more.
It's not. It's all about your name, fame.
I'm tougher than you, and
I'm tougher than you.
About to pull the trigger.
I'm about to blast you. I'm gonna kill you. You know. You're like, what? You know what happened back in the days? You know, fight.
Just a little scrap.
Let's fight. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you fight, and then I'm not the type that fights. Then the next day, you shake your hand. I ain't shaking your hand. You see what I'm saying? Even if I whooped you, I'm not gonna shake your hand.
Yeah.
You know, we fought. It's over with. I don't want to see you.
Don't mean we got to break bread.
You can never be my friend again. We fought. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. But I learned so much. You know, just going through the situation with my son, and like I said, it was a very terrible mistake that he made, and you know, and I, you know, when me and my wife, we're married now again. I came out of federal prison now, and I married my wife. Thank God she gave me a second chance, because I don't know who would else give me a chance. You know, 54, 55 years old.
Yo, Ace, real quick, let me ask you a question. What year were you talking about when you were in the Fed system?
I just jumped out of the Feds, 2019.
But you ended up doing what?
15 months.
15
Thank
months.
God.
For
Because-
like a violation of,
No.
that was the actual.
I was distribution of cocaine and distribution of firearms.
Okay.
I actually, I got set up, Lou, like my second time around. It won't be a third time. I got set up by somebody. He brought me a federal agent. And one thing led to another. You know, I was in the trap.
Yep.
And he said, hey, man, I got my friend in the car that wants to meet you.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And he runs women, prostitution ring, whatever, they yada, yada, yada. And I must have been in cloud nine. I was like, all right, tell him, come in. When he came in, I was sitting at a table and I had a gun here. And he said, I need an ounce of coke. I was like, what?
Like right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Like a red flag, right?
Yeah. And I was like, ding, ding. You know what I'm saying? There's a red light here. And I said, no, I don't got that. I had it.
Yeah.
I had it. That quick, an ounce of coke. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, man. I'll sell you 7. So I tried him, you know, and he was like, what you want for the 7? I said, give me $350. I mean, 4 $100 bills. I was like, man, bitches are marked. They marked. They got to be marked.
Crispy?
Crispy and, you know, too quick.
Yeah.
For $350 for a 7, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just selling you a zip for 12 and you're going to pay me $350 for a 7. You know, something ain't right. So to do it anyway, I needed the money. So I did it. You know, and then one thing led to another. The same guy that brought me the federal agent was
Working you up now.
working me up. He tried to come 2 weeks later. Meanwhile, I got his number, and I'm calling him on a weekend, no answer. Saturday, call him on a Sunday, no answer. You know, call him Monday morning, 9 o'clock. Clink, he picks up the phone. I'm like, you know what, man? You're a cop. I said, you're a cop. He was like, man, you crazy, Ace. I said, yeah, you're a cop. You don't answer the phone Saturday and Sunday, but you answer Monday.
Was it a Spanish dude, white dude, black dude?
It was a white dude. You know, he said he was running a prostitution ring out of Lane Avenue. And what happened to Beba was that the guy that brought him to me, he got caught coming out of the hotel with a
So they flipped him.
with a gun, and they flipped him. And that's when he brought it. You know, unfortunately, you know, I don't know if it was for the better, but I think it was for the better because I was on Lou. I was
path of
bad.
destruction.
Bad, Lou. I was bad, Lou. Lou, I'm telling you, 2015 was one of the worst years of my life when I lost my son to this accident. But 2018 really did it to me. But you know what? To thank you, Lord, that it happened because I snapped out of it, Lou. That's when I decided to say, no mas.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. You know, I'm about to be 57 years old now. I got actually 9 days left to be free.
Hey, show him the shirt. Show him the shirt.
And,
Born to be free.
It says born to be free, baby. and I'm really looking forward to this. And you know, my mind is made up. My mind is made up. I'm going to stay the same way that I am now. I'm going to continue to go to work, from home to work, from work to home, and that's it. I've been clean and sober since I've been home, thank God.
There you go.
You know, and my wife is not tolerating it at all.
Hey, we need a strong woman in the background.
Let me tell you something, behind every good man is a greater woman.
Absolutely.
Baby. And that's mine right there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? If it wouldn't have been for her, man, I probably would have been dead.
Yeah.
You know, I either would have probably killed myself with the cocaine because I was sniffing so much cocaine. And, you know, you're my cousin, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, before the feds even knocked me off, she would go to sleep. And that's when I would start using drugs, using cocaine.
Oh, behind her back.
No. She knew what I was
okay.
doing. But she didn't know the quantity.
Right.
The quantity that I was doing. You know, I'm bagging up 100 bags, and I get up the next day, 40 bags are missing.
Damn.
You know, and I'm sitting back there in my laundry room with my son's picture and the music, you know, and just crying and just killing myself, you know, between looking at this picture and doing the cocaine and smoking blunts and sniffing.
Depression.
It was just killing. And then when my wife would go to work, that's when I would jump in the shower, and go to sleep. As soon as my wife came in from work, I was at the same routine again. You know, so to me, by the guy snitching on me and setting me up with the feds, it was a good thing because they saved my life. They saved my life, and my wife saved my life. Because when I went to court, I never knew nothing about the feds. I've always stayed state time.
State, right,
you know what I'm saying? So I didn't know nothing about the feds. I didn't even know they were the feds. I thought it was local police,
Yeah.
And when they took me to dress me out in green, I'm like, oh, this is something different. And I'm going to a federal part in Nassau County. That's where they do a federal holdover. And I'm like, man, and then my wife wanted to come see me because, she had told me, you're going to jail. You're going to wind up back in jail. You're going back to prison again. And it happened. And then when it happened, the feds back then in 2018, now they changed it. Now they changed it in 15 years. They only go back 10 years. So they went back 10 years. That's why I only did 15 months. Because they went back 10 years, and in those 10 years, all I had was...
To score you out, right?
Yes, to score you out to do the PSI. They go back only 10 years. You see what I'm saying? Now they go back 15 years. See, they raised it. So they went back 10 years. I mean, I ain't had nothing because I never got in trouble besides traffic.
Yeah.
When I was in Palm Beach, running from the police on 95, on a military trail down here, you know what I'm saying? And I would always just pull over, go to jail, bond out. My man over there in front of the gun club, over there in front of the jail, the one on the gun club on the corner where T's Lounge is next door.
Oh, the little Bonds place?
Yeah, that's my man right there, Jason, my man Jason.
That place is still
He's
there.
still
I don't know if...
It's him. It's him.
He owns it.
Yeah, he looks like a police officer now. You see him? He drives a big white SUV with looks like a
That
cop
place
truck.
has been there forever.
Forever. And he's a good dude, Jason is, anyway, big ups to Jason, my man. But, and my wife, when we go to court, I didn't even know, I never knew how the feds work. There's no bond. And I'm like, I can't get out of jail? I ain't getting out of jail. That's what I'm saying to myself, right? So then my lawyer comes to me, she goes, listen. She goes, let me tell you what happened. She said, somewhere down the line, you sold to a confidential informant this amount of cocaine. And as soon as she told me the amount, Lou,
you know where it was.
Bam! I was like, damn, they got me. I gotta get out of this quick. I can't take this no further. No trial, no nothing. Let's go ahead and shake and bake what we gotta do, get the best deal and ride. You know what I'm saying? So, but the judge calls and they tell me, we'll release you if your wife would sign. I said, oh shit, I'm getting out. I said, I'm getting out. My wife gonna sign? Yeah, my wife gonna sign. Lou, listen to me, bro. They call my wife, and I'm listening to this. And they said, if you come here, we'll recall the case and everything. We'll go ahead and release him to you on the third-party custodian. And you know what's the hardest thing in the world to hear your wife say? No, Your Honor. My husband is out of control.
Ooh.
My mind was like, oh, put a hit on her.
Hold on, I heard that wrong, right?
I heard that wrong too. I was like, what do I do? My wife don't want me. My kid, what do I do? My son's in prison. Who do I have? Who do I run to now? And I was like, you know what? Tighten up. Tighten up, Ace. It's about to get grilled now. Now you got to grind. You got to do some time. So my lawyer said, listen, we're going to do this, yada, 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 until about 60 years. What? Oh, man, I'm 54 years old. I ain't got 60 years in me. I'll be dead. I'll die in the feds. So then we kept fighting and everything. And I told him the truth. I came out with this psychiatrists and everything. The lawyers came out. And I told him, listen, this is what happened to me. I don't take trauma very well. That's my problem. I'm learning.
Yeah, you're learning.
I'm learning. Because I took my mom's passing away. I took that pretty smooth, But I said to myself, man, what do I do now? I was like, well, only thing to do here, Ace, is just say the truth, admit to what happened. If you did it, you did it. Pray to God that, they don't give you 60 years. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. And then how did my wife leave me in here? And then my wife wouldn't come see me for this first couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh, bro, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. This is going to be. And I looked up and I said, God, please, this is my last time I will do this. If you direct me in a good way, how to get out of this mess that I got myself into, I'll rehab myself. I'll go do the time you want me to do, and I'll change. I'll be a changed person. And I did it, Lou. I did.
That's what's up.
They came to me. They came with a 15-month bid. I snatched it. Bop, signed away. Let's go. And I already had 10 and a half months in the county just fighting my case. So I was good. I said, I'm going to prison for 4 or 5 months and come back home and then start with my wife all over again if she gives me the chance. And my wife did. My wife gave me the chance and she was like, this is going to be your last rodeo for real. She goes, I've been with you over 30 years, but you know what? It won't be 30 more if you do the same thing again. So I decided, I said, either my wife and my family, my wife and my kids,
or the street life,
or the game. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, my wife and kids, they need me more than I need that right now.
Absolutely.
You know, I know that I can go to work and make a good living. And my wife is not a drug addict. My wife is not a trick. My wife is not a hoe. My wife is not, you know what I'm saying? I got the best woman in the world. So how could I go wrong? You know, and now it's only me and her because we know where our son is at, of course.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just been, it hurts. It hurts because to leave her.
Oh, absolutely.
To leave
I couldn't imagine.
Today I didn't take it out because I knew I was coming to see.
Yeah,
so I had a little bit of joy in me. You know,
yeah.
I'm gonna go do the What's Next podcast. You know, I've been telling all my friends, listen, man, y'all gotta tune in. We will. They thought it was today. They will all get on their phones.
They thought it was gonna be live.
Yeah, they thought it was gonna be live. Then I was like, no, it's next week. And they were like, but how you doing it? I said, I don't know. You gotta ask my cousin. My cousin knows about that. I'm just gonna go fulfill a dream that I want to, you know, do this with my cousin. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, and again, I appreciate you coming down here because, you know, I'm glad you were able to ride down, see your son, and then keep riding south and
come see
and
you,
see the rest of the family down here that you have. Let's do me a favor. Let's take it back to where it all started.
All right, we're gonna take it back to Brooklyn.
What year are we talking about?
We're gonna talk about let's say the early 70s.
You said 40s?
70s. I don't know.
I'm just playing.
We're gonna go back
to early 70s?
Early 70s.
Okay.
Between 70 and 75.
How old were you?
You figure what? 8, 9, 10 years old.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because we left to Puerto Rico in 75 from Brooklyn. My father had a terrible accident leaving home with an ice cream truck. And of course, you know that my dad was well connected in New York City.
Absolutely.
And we had the Mr. Softy trucks. We had the Freeze and Fresh trucks. And of course, I was that little kid in the back, my father driving in East New York, from Snedeker to Fountain, from Atlantic Boulevard to Linden Boulevard. That was our route, that square right there. That was the heart of Brooklyn. That was, you name it, you saw it in that square. And that was my father's route when I was a kid. So, of course, you know, I grew into that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in 75, my father had a terrible accident. We lived on Powell and New Lots in East New York. He was leaving the house. I remember I was at the window, and he went to go make that left on New Lots, and a little kid just shot across. About 3-4 years old little kid.
Wow.
He shot across New Lots, and as my father was making that left, and my father didn't want to hit the kid. So my father hit the train trestle, the column, the train up top.
Yeah.
My father hit that thing. And then what happened was when he hit it from the impact, the ice cream machine was behind him. So the ice cream machine automatically comes off the floor of the ice cream truck and it lands on my father's back and breaks my father's back in the accident. You know, and we didn't know this till after. You know, my father, he done 5 years in a wheelchair. They said he'll never walk again. And I was a little kid, and I was always the one, Dad, come on.
Trying to encourage him.
Yeah, and he would tell me, he didn't like calling me Ace. He called me Edgar. He go, Edgar, push me over there. He goes, come with me. Everywhere he used to go, come to that doctor's appointments. I put him in a wheelchair. I picked him up, boom, boom. I was a little kid fighting with my dad. And one day he said, I want to make a snow cone called piragua.
Yeah, piragua.
Yeah. And he had it downstairs on Snedeker and Livonia, right by the train trestle. He used to tie it. And every morning I would put him on the stairs. And then we had a staircase going down. We lived upstairs from a grocery store. The staircase was down. And he used to just take me off the chair and put me on the floor. And I was like, how? He was like, just put me on the floor. He was like, come here. And he would grab onto me, and I would just lift him up. You know, as a little kid, I would lift him up and put him on the floor. And my father used to go down the stairs like that, one step at a time.
One at a time.
And he goes, when he used to get down to the bottom, he used to go, bring the wheelchair. So I used to take the wheelchair, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? And then have to get him up and put him on the wheelchair, wheel him to the snow cone cart. And then I sit there with him and smell snow cones, you know? And then he was like, I'm going to walk one day, Ace. Edgar.
Explain to people that may be listening what piraguas are.
Piragua is a snow cone. It's actually a big block of ice. And you have a scraper. You have a scraper, and you have all kind of flavors from coconut to cherry, strawberry, tamarindo, all the way around like that. And you scrape it, you put it in the cone, and then you take another cone and you put it on top, and it comes out like a cone like that. And then you take the flavors and you just roll the ice like that.
God. I can see like the visual image you just set for me, bro. You just took me to New York, man.
Yeah. So then
the condensed milk on top.
Yeah, coco de leche, all that stuff. My father had all the flavors. He had this old lady, man. She must have been a magician making all that stuff. The tamarindo, all that stuff used to come in from Puerto Rico. He's had this lady over there making, ship it to him and to Brooklyn. And man, there used to be cars and people lined up. And while he was scraping on the left side of the block, I'm a little kid standing on 2 milk crates and I'm scraping on the right side.
Trying to even it up.
Help him out.
Yeah.
I'm helping my dad. His line's long. You know, he was like, hey, he goes, quédate ahí. And
what did you guys sell those for back in the days? You remember?
I think it was a quarter.
A quarter. Bro, you know, I think it might have been like 25 cents because I remember, I grew up in the early, 80s.
Yeah, because the ice cream cone was 35, the snow cone was 25.
And I remember in Yonkers, where I grew up, off of BVA.
I know where you at.
there was a lady that used to sell, you know, the ice cube trays. And she would put the little flavor ice with the
Limben.
With the whatchamacallit, with the little toothpick. And you would knock on the door. You know, it was almost like she was selling dope, but only flavored.
Yeah. So then we went from there. That's when we upgraded. You know, he got his money. Of course, the lawsuit was for $1 million. Somehow, somewhere down the line, the engineers came out and the lawyer. I remember the lawyer's name as a kid. His name was Philip Brown out of Manhattan. And this lawyer was serious. He found out where this column was like 2 or 3 inches, you know.
In the roadway.
And my father hit it. So they settled for $1 million. So my dad was like, we got it. We're going to do this. I said, Dad, ice cream trucks. And he goes, you already know. So he goes and he says, I go to court back and forth with my dad. And in between, my dad was a mechanic. That's the only thing, Lou, I hate. I used to turn wrenches with my dad as a kid, passing him wrenches.
Right.
Give me this 916. Give me the 5/8, 3/4. He was like, that one. He goes, come on, man, Edgar. And I'm like, Dad. And I didn't like it because, you know, no matter how many showers you took, Lou,
that
you
grease
still
stayed in
smell
your
like a grease mouth, man. You still a mechanics, man. I understand, but I just can't. I don't like it. And, you know, and I don't like doing it now because as soon as I turn the wrench, I start crying.
Because it reminds you of
dad.
Absolutely.
So I picked up the carpentry. That's something else that he showed me. But anyway, we went from there, and the lawsuit, we was at 773 Logan, right before we left to Puerto Rico. He goes, I need your help. He's already walking now. He goes, I need your help. He goes, because what he did, he got into car services. I don't know if you remember Premier Car Service in Brooklyn, Nulas Continental, Brownsville Car Service. That was all my dad. My dad owned all those. And he had drivers. And so what he did was he worked on his drivers' cars, you know, to make money for us to survive and everything. And then till he got his money. But one day we was working, we made a shack in the back and we brought one of his taxis to the back. And he goes, we're going to take the transmission down on this. And I was like, oh, Dad, it's hot. It was hot outside in the summertime. And I want to go play with my friends. They had the fire hydrant, you know.
Oh, yeah, with the can.
You know, with the can. That's how you put that can that time, Lou.
Yeah.
You scrape the can, I had plenty of those. So then, you know, we were there. We were working on the car. And I seen a guy with a camera come in the alleyway. And he was like, and I was like, Dad, did you see that? He was like, what? I said, there's a guy with a camera there. My father rolled out that little car. He was like, where? I said, right there. He just went that way. He was like, we're in trouble. He goes, they got me because he's supposed to be disabled.
Yeah.
And here you are working on a car, under a car, you know? So then we go to court and everything, blah, 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 blah. Man, the $1 million lawsuit turned out to be $100,000, Lou. He had to settle for $100,000, 1975. So we go, get the $100,000, we come home.
Separate.
Lou, the whole living room. Thousands like that. And I'm like, I said, Dad, you got $100,000. He goes, I said, what are you going to do? He goes, we're moving to Puerto Rico. I was like, I don't know how to read and write Spanish. And I don't know how to read and write Spanish. He goes, you'll learn it. He goes, we're moving to Puerto Rico. So me and him take $50,000. We take $50,000, a suitcase. Boom. He goes, here, you carry this and stay by me. That's when Eastern Airlines, remember them?
Yes, I remember Eastern.
Eastern Airlines was the booming airline back then. And he was like, whatever you do, if you walk with that suitcase. If you get up, you grab that suitcase. If you move anywhere, you move with that suitcase with me. So, but me being Puerto Rico, I ain't never been to Puerto Rico. I don't know where I'm going. We fly to me and him flew. And we get to Puerto Rico, we landed Aguadilla or San Juan. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was San Juan. We landed, boom, boom. Lou, I just got up and left. We left the suitcase there. Oh. We get to the door. He sees that I don't got the briefcase in my hand. He said, ¿y la maleta? Yo dije, la dejé allá atrás. My father stood at the door. Nobody get up.
Nobody moved.
He went to the stewardess and said, listen, my son just left $50,000 in a suitcase in the back. I'm not letting nobody off this plane. And my lady was like, okay, the lady shut the door.
Imagine doing that nowadays. Oh, they would jump on you.
Oh. So she shut the door and he made me go back there. He goes, you better go back there and get it. You better hope that money is there. I went back to the suitcase right there. I came back here. Now you carry it. I don't want no. I'm a little kid. I'm like 10, 11 years old with $50,000. What are you kidding me? So we go to Puerto Rico. We buy 2 houses and stayed there 3 years. I learned how to read and write Spanish. I could do that.
You learned.
I did. The lady that we stayed with was his cousin, and she was a teacher. So what she did was buy me I don't know if you know newspapers in Puerto Rico, El Vocero.
Nah, I don't.
They cut it the Bloody Mary. Every time you buy that newspaper, you see somebody's dead in the front.
The Bloody Mary.
Yeah. So she was like, all you need to do is learn how to divide the words and syllables. And my father said, you better hurry up and learn because in about 2 months, I'm going to put you in school. Meanwhile, my family's back in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Everybody's in Brooklyn. My other 4 brothers and sisters and my mom, they all in Brooklyn. Me and my father in Puerto Rico. So
trying to set a foundation in Puerto Rico.
We found 2 brothers, that owned it. They had a duplex, and one, I remember one sold, one got my father bought the one on the left first. He bought it for $13,000. $13,000. He bought that house from that guy, cash out. So my father said, how about your brother next door? He didn't want to sell me that. And so he went next door. He goes, how much you want to give me for it? He goes, I'll give you $12,000. He goes, dámelo. My father gave him $12,000. Now we got 2 houses. So my father goes, whatever we got left, we're going to put it to make the house better. He goes, you better tighten up because now we're going to get into carpentry. So we bought the 2 houses. We made el garaje, the garage. Mm-hmm. We made a 5-car garage. My father put rejas, steel gates. Steel gates in the windows and everything. And me and him, that's when I learned how to do arches. Okay. So we took both houses, we put 4 columns, and then in those columns, he made me frame out arches like that to both. So this house had 2 arches, and that house had 2 arches, and the porch, enclosed porch. And then after we built all that, he said, now let's paint it. So it took us like 3 months to do all the work. And then Navieras took the furniture and everything from Brooklyn to Puerto Rico. And in 1978, he said, we're moving
back.
Yeah, he said, we're moving back to the States. And I said, where are we going now? He was like, we're going to Florida. I said, what? Where's Florida? Yeah, I'm a little kid.
You never left. You never left
I never
New
left
York.
Brooklyn.
You never left Brooklyn.
You taking me from Brooklyn, where it's gangs, dope addicts in my hallway. To Puerto Rico, where I don't even read and write Spanish, and now we're going to Florida. He goes, we going backwards here? He goes, no, let's go to Florida. So I guess we had a canteen truck in Puerto Rico. We made a lot of money. He had saved money from the cabs and the lawsuit and everything. So we come and we wind up in Deltona, Florida.
Deltona, okay.
Listen to me, Lou. This was a crazy experience because we were the only Puerto Rican family in Deltona. I went to Deltona Junior High. My little brother, he went to Enterprise Elementary in Deltona, which actually I think they had something happened there not too long ago, last week or something happened at Enterprise. But anyway, we got our first house and we go to school. And, we from New York. We wearing New York hats,
different styles.
Yeah.
The whole fashion is different.
And these, I'm going to say it like this. Ain't no shame in my game. The white boys didn't like us because we from New York. We dress and I'm going to school. I got Adidas sneakers, Pumas, and I'm doing Gazelles and I'm doing Kangos. And these guys couldn't understand it. Got the jewelry on and we Spicks. Lou, every day of my life. That's why my knuckles
just calling you racial names.
Racial slurs, man. Very, very bad. Spicks every day, Lou. Spick. And of course, it got times where I got mad and I was like, you know what? This spick is going to be with your mother tonight. That's what I would say back to get her mad.
Yeah.
And then the person would return, don't talk about my mother. Oh, it was you? I catch you. You see what I'm saying? Or it was you that said it. Because now you're going to, don't talk about my mother. So it was you. So I wouldn't even talk to them. As soon as they step up and, you talking about my mother, you fucking boom, and I just hit them. Suspended. Go back to school. Because at that time,
this
they were
is
whacking.
Middle school or high school?
Junior high school.
Junior, okay.
Deltona Junior High. At those days, they were paddling.
Oh, they still got the
Yeah, they would paddle you. If you fought, they found 3 whacks and you go back.
That shit hurt like a mother.
Your butt be stinging, you can't even sit. And then the dude that did it was from New York, Mr. Opiso. I'll never forget his name. Lou, this dude had guns like this.
Put a little muscle into it.
Like that. And he used to get mad when he used to see me. He was like, man, I'm telling you, you better stop fighting, man. I said, you're not going to paddle me today because you're too angry. And man, one day he hit me, Lou, and I swear he took his anger out on me. He hit me so hard. The first paddle, Lou, I turned around. I grabbed the chest.
You smashed him with a chair?
I smashed him with a chair, bro. I couldn't take it. I said, you're not going to hit me 2 more times. He hit me one time, and Lou, oh my God, bro, I thought he broke my backbone. And I just turned around the same chair that he had, because he would put a chair like this, and he'll tell you,
Yeah.
Hold it like that.
Hold it. Your ass be out and wham.
Wham, 3 for a fight. It's 3 whacks, dude. But then you're talking about a dude like this. We got a 500 bench, and he's swinging a paddle. It's not no easy, no easy task. It was stung. It stung. I mean, bad. And I said, I couldn't take it no more. After he hit me the first time, I just turned around, I grabbed the chair, and I just, bam! Now I got expelled. I went home, I told my dad, look, man, I was trying not to get suspended, because I'll take the whacks, but the whack man too, he's
went a little overboard.
He's going overboard, man. Yeah. I don't know if he's prejudiced too, Dad. He was a white dude, big dude from New York, but he was big. I mean, bro, he had some guns on him. But I was like, all right. That's it. It was over with then. And I said, you know what, Dad, man, I ain't going back to school.
So at that point, you decided you were done with school.
I decided, no, I tried. I went to summer school, Lou. Then I made it to the 10th grade.
Okay.
I made it to DeLand High School in the 10th grade. And I gave up, Lou. I just said, I got involved with the wrong dudes. And this is going to be a crazy story that I'm going to tell you. So
this is where, like, the beginning of ACE starts.
Yes. We get down here, and it was... Remember 1980? when the Mariel came.
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay.
I wasn't down here yet. I was still
You
up
wasn't-
north.
You're still
Yeah.
up north? Well, we lived in Deltona, and then that Mariel, I caught an aggravated battery charge at 15 here,
Okay.
here in Florida, in Deltona. And that aggravated battery sent me to a halfway house, which is Volusia House in Daytona Beach. And I went in there, and they gave me a 4-month plan, and I wound up doing 6 months. And when I got out of that, that's when everything went bad. My family started splitting up. My mom cheating on my dad. You know, my dad was sick and no longer could perform his duties, I guess. And she took advantage, and they rented my room to un cubano, a Cuban guy that came from the Maria. His name was Sergio. God rest his soul, he's dead now. I don't got nothing to do with it. And
Disclaimer.
Yeah. So, and my dad came to see me. He told me, he was like, I rented your room out to. I was like, to who, Dad? Because my dad made sure I always had my own room because I was so clean, so organized, and I worked for him.
Right.
So he was like, as long as you work for me, you're going to always have a car. So I said, that's a deal. So anyway, we went, and he came to the halfway house to see me. And he's like, I rented your room. And I said, that's a wrong move, man. You don't rent. In your situation, you're a sick man, and you don't rent your room to another man that you don't even know that comes from another country. And these guys are supposed to be Marielitos, Cubano Hecoria, and you're going to rent a room to that? I said, man, you better watch. And I told him, and it
warned them, and it happened.
It happened. He wound up taking my mom. So my dad, was trying, and then my little brother, that guy's friend, he was an assassinator, Ruben Torres. And everybody used to be scared of Ruben. This guy, you would say the wrong thing, stab you. Quick, like that, Lou. I mean, quick. He didn't like that MF word. You said that MF word to him, he'll stab you. He hate that MF word. And me too. I hate that MF. I can't take that, And my little brother was working at a Wong Lee in the land. And he happened to go by there. And he picked my little brother up from work with my father's car. And he took my little brother on a spree. He knew these people that had money, this lady that had money. And he took my little brother over there and he played with the ignition on the car. And, hey, Mario, he's here in West Palm. He wanted to come. And I was like, no, I'll talk to Lou about that. He said, go over there and knock on that door and ask those people for a boost. So my little brother's
he didn't know any better.
16 years old. My little brother walks over there, goes and talks to the people. The guy comes out. When they get to the car, my brother don't see him. So my brother's like, Ruben. Ruben comes out of the woods with a bat. Baptizes the dude, bro. 47-year-old dude, 74-year-old lady. Killed him. My little brother's in shock. He don't know what the hell's going on. He's 16 years old. Boom, all of a sudden. I'm in New York now. I'm in Queens, Jamaica, Queens. I'm a pizza man. I get a phone call. Your little brother just killed someone. Well, my little brother didn't kill nobody. So my father comes and get me in Queens. We go back down there. My little 16-year-old brother's in jail for murder. And I'm like, it's unbelievable. How could this happen? So then I was like, I got to be with my little brother. I got to find a way to be with my little brother. And this is where Ace took the wrong turn. I went and police here in Florida back then. You remember when they used to have the gun racks on trucks and people walking around with guns and everything?
Yeah.
I came a hold of a Slim Jim, baby. I went and got me a Slim Jim, and I'll never forget. ABC, the liquor store. Remember how they used to have the club in the back? Yeah. Most of them used to have clubs in the back. Liquor in the front, and they had a club in the back. Okay. So they had one in Orange City, Florida. I'm going to get me some guns. You know? So I went and Slim Jim a couple trucks, got me some guns, sat on them for a minute, and I was taking them back and forth to New York. I like the shotguns.
Just making some money.
Make me some money, you know?
And for the whole purpose of trying to help your brother out with whatever issue he had going on with court.
At the age of 16, my brother was one of the youngest juveniles in the state of Florida to receive a 40-year sentence at the age of 16. This was back in 1982.
He was found guilty of that?
He was found guilty.
And he just stood there, right?
Yeah, but the way they did it, Lou, back then, you know, I ain't gonna, I'm sorry to say, man.
Yeah.
You know, the white folks were
good old days, good old boys.
Good old boys, baby.
I get it.
You know, them boys came out with ranch hats and everything out the way. And then where he did it in De Leon Springs, it was all ranches, you know. So those ranches pay for that. You go home. And to this day, my little brother will tell you, you know, I went to prison for something that I didn't do.
Wow.
And that destroyed my brother's life, you know, bad. So then me in return, trying to be with my brother, I go and my knucklehead ass goes and I set up a robbery.
And this is now in New York.
Here.
Oh, here, okay.
In Volusia County. You know, I did, like I said, I did my rocks for that. You know, I pay my dues for it too. This is when I found out that my mom, Lou, I didn't know my mom received food stamps, bro. I didn't know that. I knew we had 5 kids.
Yeah.
And my father we owned 5 houses in Deltona. But I never knew that my mom received food stamps. How you did that? You know? But anyway, one thing led to another, and I decided to rob the food stamp office. So me and my partner, Jesse Edwards from DeLand, I say, hey, man, look, man, let's do this, yada, yada, yada. And I told him, I broke it down to him and everything. And we wind up doing it, you know? And Lou was funny because when I walked in, he stayed at the door and there was a sign that says out for lunch. So I went in at lunch, right like 5 minutes to 12, and I made him flip the sign. When I drew, and I looked to my right, guess who was sitting like where my wife is sitting right now?
Off-duty cop?
My mom.
Oh.
My mom.
Oh.
And my mom, she's like, Ace, what are you doing? And I'm like,
don't call me.
¿Qué tú haces aquí? I'm like, what are you doing here? I didn't know my mom get food stamps. You know, I didn't see her car in the parking lot. She parked the car in the back, you know?
Try to be slick.
Yeah, she tried to be slick, you know? So then I'm already committed, Lou. I'm committed to this robbery. Now, what am I going to do? So I get him. I get $17,000 in food stamps, and I tied everybody up but my mother. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now the weight goes on her. Why you ain't tied? And the lady said, well, she said Ace. You know, it came out, and I was like, I know I'm going to make it to see my brother. You know, so I take off. I take off to New York. Me and my co-defendant, we take off to New York. And I sell the food stamps to all those grocery stores in New York. Yeah. 75 cash.
That was big back then.
What? The one that the one that you break the book?
Yeah, the coupon book.
Yeah. So then, you know, we go and we got rid of the food stamps. My partner gets homesick. He's like, yo, Ace, I want to go back to Florida. I'm like, brother, don't you know what we just did in Florida, bro? It's too soon to go back, man. I don't like it here. And what happened was that we were hanging out with my boys in New York, and my boys heard him say, Ace, what we finna do? And they was,
what the hell is
what the finna do? What you yo, Ace, where he from? You know? So I'm trying to explain to my friends, you know, yo, that's my boy from, you know, Florida. You know. What he just said? He said, what you finna do? Like, what's that mean? What we gonna do?
What we gonna do next?
He said, well, why he don't talk like that? And I was like, that's all right. They're like, man, get him out of here, Ace. But you need to take your boy back to Florida. So I was like, you know what? I think it's a good thing. So I turn around, get me a call, head back, bring Jesse back to Florida. When I'm pulling into DeLand, Florida, no. I pull into DeLand, Florida. I'm going down 1792 downtown DeLand. I look to my right, and I see the police officer got a car pulled over. When I look, it was my mother and my sister. They had him lay down, Lou, on the ground. had my mother on the floor like she was garbage. My sister, my little sister, and I'm like, oh man, no way.
They thought you was probably in the car.
They just kept harassing them because they couldn't get me. They couldn't find me, you know? My mom didn't even know I was. I wasn't communicating. I was just doing my thing. So then we go back and I was like, I got to turn myself in. I can't see my family go through this. You know, my mother.
Laying on the ground, sprawled out, guns.
Gun, my mother, my sister, God rest her soul. And my little sister, the one that lives in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm like, there's no way. I can't have that. You know what I'm saying? So I went and got a hotel room. I went and picked up my little girlfriend that I had, you know, from Brooklyn. She was in DeLand also. And we did our thing, you know what I'm saying? And I said, look, babe, man, call the police. I'm turning myself in. I'm going to go see Mario, my brother Mario. I said, I'm going to make it to that detention center to see my brother. Somehow, I'm a juvenile, so we're going. So when we get to the detention center, my brother had just, my brother went ahead and something happened. Some kid with a weight glove or something, put something in his line, busted my brother. Yeah, bad, bro. So I was like, that's the day I decided I'm going to turn myself in. I'm going to catch him. So when I got to the detention center, there was a staff. They call him staff. I call him COs. CO Robinson was there. He works for the state of Florida now. And I was like, hey, man, which is the dude that hit my brother? He was like, oh, Chico, come on, man. Don't start that. I was like, bro, where's the dude that hit my brother? I want the dude that hit my brother, the one that busted my brother up, when my brother was weightlifting. He was like, he's not here. And I said, where's my brother? He goes, your brother, we had to take him next door, but your brother said he was going to do the same thing to the dude what he did to that couple. And I was like, my brother didn't do nothing. He's accused of a murder that he didn't do. He was like, that's not what they say. So anyway, I went and I said, so where's my brother? He goes, your brother's on the other side. And I said, how do you get there? He was like, well, you F up here, you wind up over there. I said, oh yeah? Stuck him, Lou. Lou, I stuck him. Soon as
he gave you what?
Soon as he told me that, what I got to do, if you F up here, you go over there. So I hit him. I hit the staff. Bam! Next thing I know, they hog-tied me doing everything.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, man, it's not going to happen. We're not going to put you with your brother. We're not. So you might as well just change your attitude, whatever the case is. You know, and they hog-tied me, Lou, from my back to my ankle.
Yeah,
They put me on my stomach in a cell. It was cold. I was freezing. And I was like, man, my brother. You know, and then after that, I had to take a plea, and I wound up in Marianna, Florida. Dozier School for Boys, the one they closed in 2012, that they digging up bodies now.
Oh, really?
Marianna, Florida. Yeah, I was there. Only Puerto Rican in that camp. And I got out of that, and then I decided to go on my own. You know, I left back to New York, and then the drug game came in.
How long did you have to do in that youth?
For
that charge.
It was a 4-month plan, Lou, and I wasn't doing 8 months.
For the robbery? For
the robbery. I was 17 years old.
So
if it happened now, forget if I give me a life sentence.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Forget about it.
Yeah, it was bad, man. And you know, I got there too. I was a man though. I would play basketball. I graduated from school. I went to school, graduated. They actually had teachers from Washington School Board come teach me at Marianna, and I graduated. You know, I got my little high school diploma.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got out of there. Back north. I went back north.
Where's
Staten Island.
Where's Ace now in New York? Where you end up at?
When I went back?
Yeah.
Staten Island.
Staten Island?
I went back to Staten Island. I went to Staten Island. All my family's in Staten Island.
What's next for you?
Man, Lou,
where did life take you?
Now?
No.
Then?
That point.
My dad. I lost my dad. And before I lost my dad, he told me, he was like, Ace, listen to me. He goes, like, you're a hell of a worker. He goes, you need to work for yourself. And I use it as an excuse, but it was the truth. You know, if you sell drugs, you're your own boss. So that's what I decided to do. You know, I was getting it from here.
I was just about to ask you. Tell me how you start. Like as much as you can say.
Palm Beach.
How'd you start?
I started here in Palm Beach. My uncles were here. They had a restaurant down on Dixie Boulevard. And if you know Pocho's side of the family.
Yeah, man. I love Pocho too, man.
Well, his nieces were married to two big plugs.
Okay.
Two big kingpins here. They're not here no more. One disappeared. The other one, I don't know where he's at. But these guys had it. They had it for 19.
And this is 80s, right?
In the 80s.
So this is when the big,
That's
the cocaine cowboys kind of
yeah,
era.
Boy. So
right?
I was coming from New York, and me and Pocho were getting that from 1907. I mean,
A whole bird.
the whole bird, baby. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow. And the guy was like, listen, man, I'll bring them all to you, you know, blah, 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 woo, woo, woo. And you do what you got to do. Just don't cross me, you know what I'm
mention
saying?
my name.
Never did. You know what I'm saying? I went on my own. And then come 1986, I was doing it. I was the man. I had Jersey City, I had New Jersey, you know, Staten Island, Brooklyn. I had traps everywhere.
Bro, I'm gonna say, I'm picking these 3 letters out of nowhere, and if you want to say anything, you can say anything you want in reply. All right. If you want to say, okay, like you told me before, I'm just gonna pick 3 letters out of the sky. I'm thinking of like TVS. So you tell.
Wow.
You can tell me.
No, I will. I'll let you know. TVS. Let me tell you where TVS comes from.
And you don't have to be like.
No, okay. A quick run. I'll keep a good run. You know.
But did I surprise you on that one?
Yeah. Well, TVS comes like this. You know, in New York, you know, back when I was younger, you know, we used robberies.
Yeah.
You know, choke outs, you know what I'm saying? Knockouts, choke outs, you know, you rob people, run their pockets and everything. And gangs. I was never a gang member. I was always a crew member. There's a big difference between gangs and crews. You see, TVS wasn't a gang. TVS was a crew. It's called the Vamp Squad. You know what Vamp is?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, we all know what Vamp is.
Yeah.
Let's go vamping. You know, you're robbing, stick-ups. You're doing stick-ups. And of course, there was things that I wanted and I couldn't afford, Lou. You know, I wanted to wear.
You wanted the best in life. And
I wanted J's when I was young, and I wanted jewelry, and I wanted the long leather coats, and I wanted the rabbit fur around
sheepskins.
The sheepskins, you know, and the gazelles. You know, that stuff ain't cheap.
No.
You know, them things when you're a kid, you know, them things are $300-400. What? Yo, give me that, run that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it was like that.
BKs.
It was bad, Louis. And, you know, that's where the Vamp Squad comes in. And me and my originator, we still stay in contact. My boy, shout out to my boy Reddy Red, baby. You know what it is. And me and him, we the one that started. Of course, my cousin Johnny. And,
I love Johnny. You know that.
Johnny, man, you know, sometimes I feel like fault, you know, sometimes my cousin, because Johnny was in elementary school and Johnny was my money runner. Yeah. Johnny used to come to the trap. This kid, we're talking about 10, 11-year-old kid. And I would give him 20, 30,000. You know, 20, 30,000 in the 70s and 80s, a lot of money. Huge. And he used to always have a backpack. So it was perfect.
Who would question a little kid with a backpack?
And it's my blood.
Yeah.
Coming to my house after school every day, you pick up 10, 15 grand, take it to the plug, give me back. Next day, you come and tell me what I owe. That's the way we did it. And we did that for a long time, you know. And I taught him how to drive, like you said.
And I know he drives.
He know too bad. He know the alleyways in Lake Worth here, man, like crazy. You know,
he has told me some stories.
And it's true, Lou.
And even across the island. You know, sometimes they'll raise them bridges up and make sure you stay on that side.
And Johnny will take off over the bridge. He'll jump in the water. He don't care.
I'm like, how'd you do that? You know, but he's told me some
crazy stories. That's how the TVS crew came up. But gangs and me coming up, you know, if I did pretty good coming out of my neighborhood because a lot of my friends that were kids, they became junkies, heroin addicts.
They're no longer around.
And they're no longer around. They died of AIDS. They died of OD. But you know what? 1987, when I went to prison in New York, is what really opened my eyes. It was my first time to prison.
In the system.
In the system.
In adult system.
In the adult system in New York. You know, I was facing an 8 1/3 to 25 bid when actually I got set up again in '86. It was a drug dealer. This guy was, Lou, he was big, but he was connected with the New York City police. This guy,
he was competition.
It wasn't that. He was paying them off. He was paying NYPD off. You know what I'm saying? What he did, he was at a spot that Tio Pocho's cousin, Chicky, you know, stuck him up back in the 70s. And it was in the same spot where I got trapped. And we talking about the 80s. So this guy was working with the police, New York City police.
Back then.
From the 70s through the 80s. And then he got me. You know, he told me, because he knew, I met him through a Cuban guy named Chibi from Staten Island. He was like, hey, I got a friend of mine that I'm always talking to him about you. He wants to meet you. So he takes me over to the dude's house. But he sold different. I sold cocaine. He sold crack and heroin. So I said, I don't know nothing about that. That's dope. I don't know nothing about heroin. You know, here in Florida, they call dope crack, but in New York, we call dope heroin. So that way you guys will know. And he was like, look, Ace, man, I heard you're a good man, you're loyal, you know, people respect you, blah, blah, blah. Woo, woo. He goes, I need to go to Puerto Rico for 5 days, and I need you to take care of this for me. So, I'm in a spot in Williamsburg.
Okay.
Williamsburg, New York. But they call it South Side. And I go and meet him, boom, boom. We sit down. The place looked rugged. It looked like a drug
vagrant house.
Yeah.
Vacant house.
I'm not going to say it looked like this, because this looks a lot better than that. But I'm saying it had a room like this, but with nothing in it.
Nothing in it.
Only a table like this where you count money and give the pass the drugs to the workers and stuff like that. You know? So he takes off to Puerto Rico and comes back in 5 days. So now I'm connected with these people from Dallas. Pro football. Pro-am, the ones that go to the Dallas Cowboys, one guy. And he was like, hey, Ace, man. He goes, I need a half a brick. He goes, I want to take it back to Dallas. And if they like it, they're going to come back with 5. And I was like, damn, that's my money right there. I said, that's money. So after this guy comes back from Puerto Rico, I'm sitting the day before, I'm sitting at the house, like we are sitting here. And there's 2 guys, one there and one there. And I look at this one and he's like staring at me. And I was like, man, why are you looking at me so hard, man? You don't even know me. Well, he goes, I admire you. I said, don't admire me. You don't even know me. You know, he was like, but why are you looking back at us? I said, because both of you look like cops.
Oh.
I tell them that.
Yeah.
And I could bet my neck on it. The one, when I got busted, he came back 5 days. And then I came out. I came out the house with a half a brick 5 days later. You know, my man was supposed to be there at 4 o'clock. He showed up like at 9 o'clock at night. So when I walk out of the trap and I walk into the hallway, I see a blue Fender, police. And I'm like, damn, don't back up, Ace. Don't back up. You can't back up. So I just kept walking. When I walk, I hear, boom, and they latched on me. Dude latched on me from behind. So all I did was reach over like this, and I grabbed him by his hair. Through his hat, I grabbed him by his hair, flipped him over and slammed him. And when he got up from the ground, he was like, go back into the hallway or I'll kill you. And I didn't know. I said, officer, I didn't know you was a cop, man. I thought somebody trying to rob me. I'm sorry. Meanwhile, I got half a brick on me right here. I'm Bally's. I got red Bally's on, red leaves, red leather coat.
Like a fly.
I got with the rabbit fur, with my chain hanging out, $1 in my pocket. And half a brick.
En material.
And we go back into the hallway, we start touching. You know, they want to search me. I'm like, don't touch me, man, blah, blah, blah. But then something happened. I tried to run up the stairs again, try to take him with me. And there was a motorcycle cop coming from upstairs down. You know, came through the other building like that, came down. He banged the shit out of me, Lou, bro. I saw Twilight. And they got the coat. They got me pinned, but they got the coat. And the guy's going, what the hell is this in the coat? They can't find the pocket because there's a secret pocket.
Gotcha.
So I got this big 1 pound brick of cocaine, you know what I'm saying, in the secret pocket. And he's like, listen, man. He said, I'll get it out. He went like this. I was like, whoa, don't cut my coat. Don't cut my coat. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you what it is. Look, man, I found it right here when I was coming down from upstairs, I told him. You know, but they saw me. It was all police work.
Yeah.
They saw me come from the downstairs apartment out. You know, it was all him. You know, it's a buyback. You know what I'm saying? You buy and bust.
Yeah.
That's what they did. You know, they knew that with that money for the half a brick, 5 were coming. They didn't even wait for the 5. They just jumped on me then. And he stitched on me. Then he set me up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he did, you know. And then I come to find out, you know, when I'm coming down from prison, I went to New York. I fought there for like a year and a half. And they kept fighting and fighting because I was on probation when I got caught with the half a brick. So my PO was like, me and him were like this, thank God. And he was like, if you keep the case to run past September, you get off in September, then you can cop out. And I was like, man, okay. So I got a lawyer. He helped me get my PO in New York. The one that got me my lawyer.
Get a lawyer.
She does family and criminal. So she was doing him in family court because he was going through a divorce through a girl that I introduced him to. He got caught. And I got her because of the cocaine.
Yeah.
And I was telling my wife yesterday, you know, I'll go see this lady after work because I've always worked. That's one thing about me. I've always worked. I love to work. I love to get a check on Friday, you know, whether I make it on my own or I earn it.
Right.
So I go and see this lawyer. And she was like, first of all, I'm going to tell you something. Your retainer fee is $15,000 to retain the case. If we go to trial, it's $25,000. And I said, I'm going all the way. I said, I'm going to go through this. Yeah.
You wanted to go to trial?
Yeah.
So,
but then until she found what I found out, then I was like, wait, we got to come out. So I kept fighting, postponing the case to, you know, remember I got to pass September because otherwise then I got a violation and a new charge.
Right.
So we go and we fight the case. And I told her, can you make this case past September? She goes, I can make it past 2 years. I said, you sure? I said, as long as you pass September. And she was like, yeah. I said, she goes, why? Because your probation is due? Yeah, my PO. She knew that me and my PO were like this. You know, me and my PO were tight. He used the shit. So I used to have the whole.
Yeah, you had somebody in your pocket.
Yeah. I said, I got him. So he told me the ropes and then we got her. We hired her, you know, and everything. I paid her. And of course, you know, she was like, I'm trying to get you a year in Rikers Island because I've never been convicted of any top felonies like that. You know, and no drug convictions in my life. That was my first one, you know. So then when the lawyer come out, the judge told him about 8 1/3 to 25. I was like, oof. Come on, man, you gotta be kidding me. You know? And I was like, there's no way. I sat in Rikers Island for like 15 days. And I finally broke. I told my mom, get me out of here. Get me out of here. $150,000 bond. My mom, when we had 15 cash, thank God I had 15 cash. Found a bondsman, she gets signature, 15,000, keep got me. The dude found out that I'm out. Want to set me up. He found out I was out and he tells me, come see me. Blah, hang up the phone. He go call, let's say he'll call Chimmy. Chimmy, come to my house, please. Chimmy knew where I live. Mira, yo no quiero hablar contigo. Nah, I don't want to talk to him. I'm going to do this on my own. I don't need his help. I didn't know, right now, I didn't know, Lou, that he was down with that. I didn't know it was him. I didn't know it was coming from that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't want to see him because you didn't take me out immediately. You see what I'm saying? You didn't bomb me out immediately. That was supposed to be your job. You know, yo, I'm coming out of your trap. You know what I'm saying? Kind of cursing you.
Take me out.
Let me take Lou out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, he didn't do that. And he didn't even come to Staten Island. But you could come to Staten Island and meet me. You can come to Staten Island, you know, and let me know what you want. And me and you make meetings and that's all okay. But you can't take me out of jail. And I just made you 80 grand in 5 days? Come on, man. You got to be kidding me. So I didn't want nothing to do with him until I did my own investigation. Me and Theo Porter was sat down and talked. And he was like, I want to take you to Chicky's house, which is his cousin. And we go to Chicky's house. And, Ace, where did you get busted? And I told him. He was like, man, he goes, Ace, that dude's police, bro. I said, what? He goes, he's the police. He's working with the police. If you're telling me you got busted at 202 South 2nd between Roland and Driggs, okay, in Williamsburg, I used to rob that dude when I was a junkie in the 70s. And I was like, you lying to me. It's the time to get an investigator. I put an investigator on. Bam. Charged me $5 grand. Came up, paid him $5 grand. He went to work. Kept following him. Pictures. Knew all the pictures that he showed me. It was him talking with the police. All the pictures that he followed him at the police station. And I'm like, he's connected. I said, he's connected with the police. And I was like, unbelievable. I said, New York NYPD is supposed to, you know what I'm saying? What do we got going on here, you know? But where
there was a lot of things going on back in those days,
Lou, where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a trick, there's a trade. You know what I'm saying? And in this world, you know how they say money talks.
Yep.
I guess he was paying him so good, and when my cousin Chicky told me, Ace, I used to go to that same apartment in the 70s. When you was in East New York selling ice cream, I was going to Williamsburg robbing that dude like twice a week. In that same spot, 202 South 2nd between Roman and Driggs. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So now my mind is like, shh, and I'm like, no, can't. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna fight my case. Fought my case 6 days before I got sentenced. We paid him a visit. Me and my older brother Ricky, because I got my brother Ricky doing life in New York.
Yeah.
And we paid him a visit. Everything went pretty smooth. You know what I'm saying? We came out of it, came back home. He's alive. We alive.
No doubt.
He's broke. We're not. But we did what we had to do, and my brother Ricky was like, let's wipe the whole family out. I was like, no, I can't live with that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. I get out of prison, 88.
What you end up, how much time you end up doing over
1 to 3.
1 and 3. And you did it at Rikers or you did it
No, I went upstate.
Where
I went to midstate. I went from downstate. I went to downstate first for reception. And Lou, first time in New York prison, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, let me tell you something about New York. Let me tell you something about NY. It's not what you know in New York, it's who you know.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I got up that road. I got up to prison, man. I was weighing 190 pounds, dude. But I did take a gold chain with me with a San Lázaro with me. And I said, you're going with me and you're going to come home with me. Otherwise, we're both going to be in a casket. I told the San Lázaro that.
Right.
This saint is supposed to be the one que cuida el hombre. ¿Verdad? That's what they say.
Yeah.
San Lázaro protege el hombre. I said, we're going to see if this is true. You're going to protect me and I'm going to protect you. Because I know people are going to want you. And I ain't going to let it happen. So get to Rikers Island, boom, sentence. Get my sentence.
For people that don't know, Rikers Island is...
Right. Let me tell you something. Fort Maine, the House of Pain. If you didn't know, I'm telling you, Rikers Island is no joke. I mean, the jail system in New York has changed, but Rikers Island will always be Rikers Island. Trust me when I tell you. And it's nothing to play with. I got scars to prove it. I got stabbed here, I got stabbed here. I mean,
and the reason that we mention it is not to glamorize it, is to show these youngins that are out there that maybe music, maybe others, maybe social media that glamorize some of these jails and prisons or whatever.
It's not
life or death.
It's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Lou. Especially you got like today. When I go see my son today, Lou. And I asked the guy in the canteen, hey, I could tell he's an older dude. I say, hey, because in Florida,
that's how we talk.
Absolutely. Not me. I see old person. I'm like, Pops. My son said, Dad.
I do the same thing.
My son said, Dad, that Pop shit, that's white people say that, man. We say, I said, all right, hey, how long you been down, man? He was like, 38 years.
That's a long time, bro.
Lou, and let's back to my son, I thought what Jacksonville did to me, to my family, was use my son as an example. Because here you got a kid that, it's a young kid, I understand, 18 years old, but there was no remorse to my kid. How do you take a kid from having a year probation, and this accident happens to him, and he's just turned 18, August. The accident was October 2nd. I'll never forget, 2015, and of course, I want y'all to see this. It says Jaylene, it's my baby. I got 13 tattoos, and my wife never let me go below my elbows. Never. My wife said no, but I got them. I'm tatted. I'm tatted.
I think our whole family has at least.
And I never went below my elbows. And 2 weeks before I got out the feds now, I went below my elbows. And my wife, when I came home, I said, look, she was like, you went below your elbows. I said, for her, I will go beyond my elbows, because it was such a freaky accident. My son and her playing with a gun.
Right.
Here you got a 18-year-old with a 40 caliber. What is this world coming to? These kids, where are these kids getting these guns? I know now.
Absolutely. You know more than anybody else,
I know now because I know the kids. You
Yeah.
see, I was always that cool father. I would always, with my son being a gang member, you know what I'm saying? What I try to do is fit in so I could know what's going on.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I was going in too much with it. You know what I'm saying? But I'll shoot them gang signs. They know how I am. I shoot them gang signs all day long. But I know them all. The Kings, you know what I'm saying? And the Bloods. I know them all. The Crips. I know them all. And I'm like, man, my son. You're my only son, Luke. This is my only son. So you can imagine how devastated I am. And my doctor here, Richard Weiner, shout out to orthopedic surgeon. You need an orthopedic surgeon in Palm Beach, you call Richard Weiner, Dr. Richard Weiner out of Palm Beach Gardens.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. He works for Dr. Saslow.
Yeah, Saslow's my partner. Saslow fixed AJ's hand.
Saslow did my elbow and my ankle.
Yeah.
And I know him for many years, man.
Yeah, Saslow's something serious.
They're orthopedic, what is it?
Orthopedics right on...
Orthopedic Center of North Palm?
Right, yeah, North Palm
Off
Beach.
of US 1.
You go to North Lake, you get off head east, make a left on US 1 there on the left right there.
Yes.
Yeah, I painted the building. I used to do everything for that doctor.
That's funny. That's crazy. Small world.
Saslow fixed AJ's hand. AJ broke his hand here. We went to a church, right? They were giving out free food and stuff. We went to church and we had to sit to whatever. And after the church, the pastor's father jumps in his car in the parking lot and he runs me over. Lucky I jumped up, because me being a foreman, I built 95 from Jacksonville to Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I've been a foreman on all these jobs. So when I was working in Lake Worth, over here doing the Lake Worth job with a Staldy, me and my son went to a church over here for Lantana, and the father was in the car, in the driveway, and my son goes, Dad, watch out. So I jumped up. They teach you on the highways, they teach you if a car's coming at you, don't jump left or don't jump right because you don't know which way the driver's going, left or right. The driver ain't going up, so you jump up, So I jumped up and he
That's crazy.
Caught me on my left leg, flipped me. So my son went crazy. Oh, you hit my father. My son run up to the car. Stop the car. Stop. And he punches the window.
And broke his hand.
Broke his hand. Could you imagine if he would have hit that old man?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. So then we go. I take my son the next day. I see my son. I'm like, damn, AJ.
Swolled up.
It's bad. And so I run him up there to my peoples, to Dr. Weiner, Saslow. And Saslow said, come here, AJ. And he raises his hand like that. He was like, you broke your hand. Saslow was mad. So he told him, how'd you break your hand? So AJ goes to tell him, oh, we was at a church and the guy ran my father over and I punched the window. He was like, real nice, AJ. Now you got a broken hand. So he puts my son in the cast. But that Dr. Weiner, those are my people.
That's crazy. That's small world.
Yeah, and then,
they're phenomenal.
They're the best.
Dr. Leonard
Yeah.
and Dr. Saslow, they're ER trauma doctors at St. Mary's.
Yeah. Weiner's the president of that.
They're on this commission or whatever, man. They're one of the best in Southeast Florida.
Dr. Weiner's been the top 10 orthopedic surgeon in the state of Florida for the last 20 years. Top 10. My brother. I call him Rico.
Rico.
His name is Richard Weiner. Dick Weiner, you know what I'm saying? But I love him.
Yeah.
We still stay in contact to these days. They love AJ. Saslow, Dr. Canner, Lenar, all of them they all love AJ.
We call Leonard Lex.
Lex. Big Lex.
Alexander.
He's a tough guy. Lex is a tough guy,
Cool. He's like a big teddy bear.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He pushes his weight around. Lex pushes his weight around. I know Lex. But I work for these people for 9 years. I did everything for Dr. Weiner except have sex with his wife. to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We bought properties and I'm the one that flipped them and we sell them and he'll give me all the work. And if I find a house, he'll give me 2%. And if he rented it, he'd give me 2%. If he sold it, he'll give me 5%. But I was blowing so much money. I was making $500-600 a day out here. And
Just
drugs. I'm not gonna lie, Lou. You can't cover the sky with your hand. It ain't big enough, baby.
True.
You know, it was all drugs and fun and going to mojitos and Bradleys and all these clubs out here, you know, and Cheaters and, you know what I'm saying, Goldfingers and all these places, you know what I'm saying? Remember that?
That's the raw.
Yeah, that's the raw.
That's the raw right there.
That Goldfinger was something else. Oh, Luke. But it was just, you know, here too. You know, thank God in West Palm, I never sold drugs. I used it. I used a lot of drugs. I made a lot of money in West Palm. I learned a lot while I was here. And the only thing that I can say is, you know, thank you, God, for saving my son, even though he's incarcerated. And thank you, God, for telling my wife to give me another chance.
You know that's
it's just
it's so, like we said before, you know.
I used to hide from you, Lou.
Why?
Because I didn't want you to know what I was doing.
Bro, you know, I had none but love for you, man.
I know, but I used to say, you know, like when Loncho, one time we got jammed up, me and Loncho, he was like, my brother-in-law Lou. I said, don't say that. You know, don't call him, bro. I don't want to know. You know Loncho.
Yeah,
Loncho.
absolutely.
Yeah, Loncho's something else. You know, he always want to call Lou.
Bro,
call
he makes
Lou.
me laugh so much.
Oh
man.
my God, he's so funny.
I call him my brother-in-law because he's
He
married
is your
to
brother-in-law.
me. Yeah, he's married to my sister-in-law, who I love to death.
Yeah,
but I love Loncho. You know,
they just did 25, huh?
Yeah, they just
renewed 25. They renewed their vows.
I just did 29.
Oh,
so I'm close to you.
Yeah,
you're one or 2 years above.
I would have been if I would have stayed. But my wife, you know, she was like, she cut me off one time.
Yeah.
Give me that divorce, and that's when I came to West Palm.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I was staying with Diane.
Okay.
You know, and then I started from there. That's when I got on with a Staldy and everything. That's when everything started. And I go back and, you know, back home again where I think it was best for me. And I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying with my wife. It's over with.
That's what's up,
bro. I'm going to stay with my wife and support my kid. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm a prison dad. I'm not ashamed to say it. You know,
you have to support.
You know,
you have to support.
I gotta support
no matter what our kids do in life.
I told my son in the news when it happened. When it happened, I told the news. They came to my house and I let one lady and she was so beautiful. She was nice. And I said, AJ, I'm going to ride with you to the day you get set free again. Because I know it was an accident. It was a terrible, terrible accident.
Right.
You know, and I used to always warn my son. And I warn everybody else. Listen, guys, man, if you don't...
That's the message right there.
If you don't listen to nobody, I'm talking to young kids and I'm talking gang members. And, you know, if there's anything in your life that you want to do, man, respect a gun. You got to respect the gun. Treat every gun like if it's a loaded gun because you never know. They're nothing to play with. It'll cost you your life. If you live by the gun, my brother, I'm going to tell you from experience, you're going to die by the gun. Trust me when I tell you. You know, find something else to do. You know, call me. If you need to call me and I'll talk to you, man. You know, if you need help, anything. If you think Mr. Ace can help you, I'm here to help you. I'm here to talk with you and tell you my experience and what I'm going through. You know, and it don't stop here. This is just the beginning. You know, I still got another 10 years of my life to be a prison dad. And I can prove it to you. You know, I got a lot of hurt in me because, you know, how can God give me my only son and take my only son? But at least my son's alive. And about another year, I think there was somebody in Orlando would have probably killed my son. And this is what God put in the books for me, you know. And it's crazy, Lou. You know why? Because my son never seen me do a stick-up. Never. You know, I didn't teach my son that. That's not what I showed AJ. I showed AJ how to work. He's a hell of a worker, man. My son, I'm doing jobs now. Look, I'm even getting hurt, and I'm still going, you know, and I'm like, where's my son?
He's just the circle that he surrounded himself by?
Yeah, the gangs. And guess what? Today he told us, right, honey? Today he told us how many people have sent him money.
From the people that he knew?
Yeah. One sent, what, $20, hon? One sent 100. And that one just got out of prison, Peanut. And who was the other one? I don't remember. But you see what I'm saying? And here's my son, when he's gangbanging in the street, you know, he was loyal to them. What? This is, and let me look at the camera real quick.
Yep.
Let me explain something to whoever's watching. If you own a gun, if you have a permit for a gun, you know, protect that like you would protect you. You know, if you got a carry permit, well, carry it. Don't leave it in your car. That's where a lot of these kids are getting guns from these days.
Very true.
These kids are car hopping, what they call car hopping. They're going through neighborhoods at night and they're checking your doors. And if your car is open and your gun is in there, guess where it's going? It's going to that kid. So I'm going to tell you from experience, please lock your gun up, put a safety on it. You know, take it with you. Don't leave it in your car, because that's where a lot of these guns are coming from. They're coming out of cars that these kids are getting into. You know, take your gun home with you. Don't leave it in your car. You know, I don't care if you got that automatic lock or everything. If they want it, they're going to take the whole system. They're going to take your whole dash and take it.
Yeah.
You know, and then
you're 100% correct.
One thing leads to another, and you're in trouble. You know, it's just like I showed you those pictures that I sent you. You know, where look at this. Where does a 17-year-old kid get an AR-15? Where does a 17-year-old kid get a 40 caliber with a 30-round clip?
From the back of somebody's car seat.
All from car hopping,
yeah,
Lou.
I know.
Lou, all from car hopping.
Absolutely.
All them boys in Orlando that I talked to, gang members, and I know yous all. Believe me, you need to take the guns out your car and take them with you. All these kids are getting these guns out of cars, man. Cars that people park, they know, these kids know, they do their math. Oh, a cop lives there. Let's check his cars. The cop, you know, one cop in Orlando got his shit taken, and
that happens all the time.
Bro, let me tell you something. The cop got reprimanded. And, you know, and I knew the people that had the gun. I said, yo, you better get rid of that. Look, it was in the news. They looking for that. Yeah. You're going to get in trouble. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they getting them from, Lou. Yep. From car hopping.
Bro, I want to kind of like to end on a message. What advice would you give a young person that thinks that the gang lifestyle, the thug lifestyle, you know, the mischievous lifestyle, that's what it's all about it, you know? What advice would you give? You can speak to a kid that's trying to join one of these groups or be affiliated with somebody, and what it can lead to. What advice would you give a young person?
I'm going to tell you, young man or young lady, because I know
that's
some young girls that have been in some trouble recently. But I'm going to tell you something. Do yourself a favor. Try to get education. Education, school. Go to school. School is free. The teachers are there to teach you. You know.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do me a favor. So they make sure that people hear that your message.
What I'm saying to you, to young ones, is this: please, man, do yourself a favor. I'm coming from the bottom of my heart.
Who's been there, done that?
I've been there. I've done it. I've seen it. You know, I've grown up. It's a miracle that I'm gonna be honest with you, my man. I've done it all in my life except stick a needle in my arm and a penis in my butt. Okay, but I'm gonna give you a warning, please. Gangs, I respect gangs. Don't get me wrong, but they're not gonna be there for you, bro. When you get yourself in trouble, when you do something and you get incarcerated, all those people ain't gonna be there for you like you think they are. You know, think about the people that you're gonna hurt, like your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers. Think about that before you think into joining a gang and getting yourself in trouble, those are the ones that are going to suffer. Your immediate family, your mom, your father, your brother, your sister, those are going to be the ones that do the time. If you wind up in prison, those are going to be the ones that are riding, doing time with you. You know, I'm coming from the bottom of my heart, man. I'm a prison dad. I'm not proud of it, but you know, it's a situation where it happened and now we're just going to go ahead and deal with it. Please make a better decision in your life. Don't choose the gang. Choose school and take that. The same way you want to go into a gang, go to school and take that. And I guarantee you, I promise you, you're going to do better going into school and getting the education or even going into the military. If I would have known what I know now when I was young, I would have joined the military because I think I would have been a hell of a sergeant. But please put the gun down, baby. Pick the book up, and you're gonna be a lot better in your life. Trust me when I tell you.
Bro, you heard it from my man Ace, the guy who's been there, who's done that, who's now dealing with his son being incarcerated. All right. I don't think he could have gave a more powerful message to some young person out there that's listening. And I hope you are listening. I hope you pay attention to Ace's message. You know, he took his way back to where he's at today, a better person, a better man, a better husband. You know what I mean? Clean, sober, which is very important, right? So, and none of us are perfect, right?
No, we're not.
We can't throw stones because none of us live in glass houses.
That's right.
Right? So, but the message is so powerful, and that's the reason, again, for this platform, and it's someone, hopefully, that's young out there that can listen to this message and make a change their actions that could lead to other things that you might regret in the future.
Yeah.
So, Ace, thank you again for being here today.
Thank you for having me. And again,
oh my God,
I want to say thank you to all the sponsors for making this happen, because without you, Ace couldn't be here today. But I appreciate everything you're doing for my cousin. Don't stop. And you know, back to the kids again. You know, I hope that I at least touch one life today. You know, I'll be satisfied with touching one life. I got a couple of shout outs. I told
go ahead.
There was two guys I was talking to on the phone that they call me, and you know, the guys that are incarcerated with my son, they call me Pops. And you know, these guys I talked to, and they got a lot of time, and you know, we're talking about 2 life sentences plus 60. Who does that? You know, the Florida ain't playing. Florida's giving out football numbers, guys. Kids, please, man, I beg you, man. I beg you, shorty. Listen to me, man. Listen to Unc, man. Get it right, get it tight, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you can link up with me through Lou or through What's Next or anything, I'm Mr. Ace, 2426@gmail.com. You can email me, or if you want to call me and talk to me, man, I'd be more than glad to, you know, take that minute. Whatever I'm doing, I'm going to stop and talk with you. You can call me at area code 904-226-0883. I want to give a special shout out to one of the guys that are incarcerated with my son. You know, he called me. They look out for my son, and it goes vice versa. But my man Bud, you already know what it is, baby. This shout out is for you and for my man Tank over there in OCI, man. And, you know, I love you guys for doing what you're doing, and you know, being there with my son, and also taking care of my son, taking care of each other, because I'm pretty sure AJ takes care of you guys too. But I love for what you guys are doing for me anyway. And guys and kids, please remember, education is better than being a criminal. You know, educate yourself, man. Being a criminal is nothing. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt your mom. You're gonna hurt your father. You're gonna hurt your brother. You're gonna hurt your sister. Put the guns down. Pick up that book, and you'll be better off. Trust me when I tell you. Coming from Mr. Ace, baby.
Oh, there it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thank you for watching our episode number 7 of What's Next podcast. Please look forward to episode number 8. We'll keep that one on the download for right now. But Ace's video will be up next week, probably next Thursday, somewhere in that time, after editing and all that good stuff. But again, thank you, Ace. Thank you for everybody
No,
that
you're
looks
welcome,
out and
Lou.
supports the channel and keeps kind of keep me going,
Yeah,
motivates
that's
me to
it.
keep going.
Yeah, I want to say it again. A big shout out to all the sponsors of What's Next, man.
So
Thank you so much. For having me because of you, I'm here. I want to thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing for my family, for Lou, for What's Next, and this is what it's all about, baby, right here.
what's next in life?
What's next in life, baby? Get it right, get it tight.
And with that, we out. Thank you, everybody.
Peace.